So just this week, or was it last week? I can't remember exactly. We talked about the Northern mayors basically saying, look, if you do not build HS2, we are going to be in a massive travel gridlock that is going to be a catastrophe, because you are going to have people on at least what is the very much reduced HS2 line from London to Birmingham, and then you are going to create a massive bottleneck that if you do want to travel further north from Birmingham, good luck. And it's not just, of course, Birmingham up to Manchester, but it's Manchester itself that could also become a massive gridlocked bottleneck. This is why we need things like Northern Powerhouse Rail. We need, not only HS2, HS3, HS4 that would also help massively improve the capacity on the railways we have. So there has been talks since HS2 was cancelled by Rishi Sunak. Labour at the moment says, look, we're reviewing the situation of what we inherited from the government. We are not ruling out not building HS2. But as I've said many, many times since then, if funding is the issue, if it is an issue of funding, there are other ways to do it. The government could issue railway shares for the public to buy into. To sort of buy apart, sort of invest in this. This would be something I think would be a good idea. There are multiple ways you could do it. And today, there is now being a new plan unveiled by Andy Burnham, and I can't remember the guy's name now, the new Metro Mayor for Birmingham as well. They have unveiled a new plan as well that is not quite high-speed rail, which I think is interesting. Not quite high-speed rail, but what they've got is they've said it's going to be cheaper. Again, X to doubt that. We'll see what happens when when they actually try and build it and what the costs are going to be. But they've said we can fund this much part of it. We just need private equity now to go and fund the rest. If they think this is a potential solution, if they want to sort of say and do this, this is why, we have, Labour, regional metro mayors have said it countless times. This is why they are so important, so that they can take decisions for that region, so that not all power gets concentrated in Westminster. And if metro mayors like this want to work together on trying to build things like this, great. Now, will this fully solve the capacity problems? Just been announced. We'll see what the experts have to come out and say when they've had a more deeper look at this. But this, as not a proper replacement to HS2, it's something. It's not nothing, which, hey, sometimes, and especially in this case, there's something is going to be 100 times better than just doing nothing. So let's have a look at what they've said, what the proposals are, and how they plan to build it again through private equity. So before we do get on into this, please do remember to click on the like, the share button, the links down below, the Patreon page, the Buy Me Coffee link where you can buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, all that other good stuff down below. Leave me a comment down below to tell me what you think. And of course, let's crack on then into this. This comes from The Guardian with the title of Plans Now Unveiled for a Cheaper High-Speed Alternative to the Scrapped HS2 Northern Leg. So, a plan for a new high-speed rail line linking Birmingham and Manchester has been unveiled, claiming now to deliver most of the benefits, not all of the benefits, let's just stress that, most of the benefits of the scrapped northern leg of the HS2 at a slightly significantly cheaper cost with only slightly longer journey times. The 50-mile track would run from where the HS2 line is now due to end in Staffordshire to a jointly planned Northern Powerhouse rail line now west of Manchester Airport. under the plans unveiled by the mayors of Greater Manchester and West Midlands. The proposal of this line would now cost 25 to 40% less than the HS2 scrapped second phase, but could also now be partly funded by private sector, according to a report commissioned by the mayors. So we'll see. But again, doesn't deliver all the benefits. Cheaper, but we'll see by how much cheaper. Because it seems to me this isn't, again, high-speed rail. All they are doing is we're building a new railway line. And if they are, speed is a thing. Speed is good to have. But we'll see. And, as I said before at the beginning of this video, something is better than nothing. But part of me does believe this is sort of a challenge to the government to say, hey, look, we can do this. Why can't you? So I do believe part of this is really a challenge to the current government to say, you need to be really looking at, more stuff like this. And we do. I've said this before, public transport, really, really important. But anyway, let's get back into this. So HS2 Northern Leg was now controversially abandoned by Rishi Sunak back in the autumn. And although Labour said that it would not reinstate it, a series of now damning reports have now criticised the decision as now undermining the benefits of the whole high-speed rail project. The mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, said the report showed that doing nothing was not an option. Then we covered that just last week. And bear in mind, this, better than nothing. True, it's not HS2, won't deliver all the benefits that HS2 would give. But hey, better than nothing. Because, in 10 years, you get transport chaos. So, better than nothing. But, we could have something so much better on this. He said now with the growing traffic and the bottlenecks on the West Coast mainline, this was now demand would now outstrip train capacity on the existing railway now in the north. The report, which was conducted by ERUP, a private-led sector consortium, chaired by the former HS2 boss, David Higgins, said that this examined the options from the upgrades that now bypass to the West Coast lane line, but concluded the best path forward is a new rail line, and the only one suitable alternative for now attracting private finance. Trains would take about 15 minutes longer to reach Manchester from London than the original HS2 plan, but that still would last 30 minutes less than the current services, which take over 2 hours. The report said that the plan would also now potentially save the Treasury about $2 billion in costs that HS2 Limited linked now to Sunak's decision. This would be using much of the very same purchased and safeguarded land along the registrative time and the design work. The line rebranded as the Midlands Northwest Rail Link would largely follow the very same route, but be built now in 2 phases, the north and south of Crewe, to mirror the jettisoned HS2 line. However, it would also cut the budget by needing to build a lot less future-proof railway, designed to a lower specification. And this is where the doubts come in. This part of the railway line, because it is not being properly funded, is not future-proof. So it's only good potentially for now, not further down the line. And you get to a point where you're like, well, we got to upgrade this line. This is why you build HS2, because HS2 was like, this railway line will be good for the next, 60, 70 years. So, as I said at the beginning of this, better than nothing, but it's not going to deliver all the benefits of HS2. So the design would, of course, be of a lower specification, with trains running at least at a maximum of 168 miles per hour instead of the 225 miles per hour, and using the ballstock track rather than the concrete slabs. The report's authors declined to give an overall budget figure for the scheme, so bear in mind where we said, oh yes, this is like 20 to 40% less. The report authors haven't given a overall budget figure, but oh, don't worry, gonna be cheaper. Anyway, citing the disputes over the scope and cost of HS2 second phase, which Sunak claimed would amount to almost £36 billion last year, but would have included parts of the new Northern lines. The parts have now also been plans now have also been launched as Labour now reviews the existing capital spending, transport and other departments before the budget on the 30th of October. Supporters are very hopeful that the government funding could even restart a rail link after the National Infrastructure Commission and the National Audit Office warned of the consequences of Sunak's cancellation. And we must take those warnings incredibly seriously. If not, you could be in for a decade of rail chaos. If you do nothing, you end up with chaos that will take a long time to sort out. And that just will not be acceptable. And if we are going to be a government that is interested in long scale thinking, in long term decision makings, building HS2 is worth every single penny. Every single other high speed rail network in the world has proven that it is worth every single penny invested into it. So, the infrastructure review, obviously by the former Siemens boss, UK Jürgen Mayer, for Labour last month, said that the cancellation of the HS2 Northern leg will potentially now leave the West Coast main line in absolute tedium and the M6 motorway now to collapse. Just think that, the M6 motorway to collapse. Anyway, Burnham called now for an early decision to now end this uncertainty, saying that congested transport links were now becoming major barriers to economic growth in the UK. He said that the report had now good news for the government and a viable option to build a new railway line between Lichfield and Highley, connecting HS2 to the Northern Powerhouse Rail, which almost all the benefits of HS2 will be delivered quickly and crucially at significantly lower cost. The big problem is it wouldn't be future-proof. You would have to come back in so many years to upgrade this line. This is why you build HS2. You know, can't stress this enough. Anyway, but the mayor added, doing nothing is of course not an option, as the demand for our rail services on the West Coast Main Line is set to exceed capacity within a decade. The mayor of the West Midlands, Richard Parker, said, without the extension, we will now continue to be reliant on the West Coast Main Line, which is already maxed out and impacting on the people of this region and wider. We need to now free up capacity, and if we don't get this right, our future and our economy. So again, just build HS2. Just build HS2. It's worth it. You want funding? Worried about that? Lots of other ways you could look into help funding HS2. Haggis also urged the government to work together with the private sector and mayors to take now practical steps to make this new rail link a reality. John Arnott, the chair of the National Infrastructure Commission, said, without better rail links between the two regions, economic opportunities will now be lost and the full benefits of the first phase of HS2 will not be realised. It is good to see local leaders devising practical options that merit serious consideration by the government, which is why local mayors, these regional mayors, are a good thing, a very good thing to see, because this is proving worth the salt. And I really do believe this is a challenge to the government in many ways. The Department of Transport said, we are absolutely now committed to improving rail connectivity across the north and working with the involved leaders. We are currently now reviewing the position that we've inherited on HS2 and will set out the next steps in due course. HS2 Limited did not comment. So we'll see what happens. But as I said, it's better than nothing. I agree with Andy Burnham. Better than nothing. It's not future-proof, though, so you're going to have to come back and revisit this and upgrade this at some point, which could, cost a whole... God knows how much that will cost. Thousands, potentially. Thousands, probably even more than that. So, yeah, this is yet another clear example. Build HS2 because it's the better alternative. Every single other high-speed rail, over time, over cost, but the economic benefits it brought far, far outweighed any of that. So we'll see what happens. But like I say, I think many people like myself are going to be waiting for the budget to see what he said about HS2. So as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, let me know what you think down in the comments. Click the like, click the subscribe button, ring the bell as well. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.